by railway wagons. Beyond Appleton Dock, on what is known as Coode Island, is Swanson Dock, the busiest dock in the Southern Hemisphere. Swanson Dock can accommodate 8 ships and was opened in 1969 as one of the earliest specialized docks built to handle containerized cargo. This dock was named after the chairman of Melbourne Harbour Trust, Victor Swanson, who had the vision to establish a dedicated container terminal. Today, about 75% of cargo is handled in containers. As the cargo is protected in containers, purpose-built ships can stack cargo above the deck, carrying a lot more cargo than ever before. With large container cranes on rails, several cranes can unload thousands of tons of cargo in a day. Beyond Swanson Dock is where the mouth of the Maribyrnong River joins the Yarra River. After the Yarra, the Maribyrnong River is the second major river in metropolitan Melbourne. The next wharf after the mouth of the Maribyrnong River is Holden Dock, where bulk liquid cargo is handled. Another great feature of the station is the clocks out front showing the next train scheduled for each line. Undoubtedly the most popular meeting place in the city, "I'll meet you under the clocks," is a saying that has been used by generations of Melbournians. Up ahead, the riveted cast iron Sand Ridge Railway Bridge was the first Australian railway line opened in 1854. The first steam
Mahal, I don't know how to get it the other way around.
To Railway Pier, renamed Station Pier in Sandridge, which was also renamed Port Melbourne. The 10 moving art sculptures on the bridge are a representation of Australian migration and are called the Travellers. As we pass under the Sandridge Railway Bridge, on the right is the Banana Alley Vaults, originally used for storing fruit and green bananas brought in by tourist ships, which docked nearby. Once the fruit had ripened in the vaults, it was then sent off to the markets. The very next low bridge we can see is Queen's Bridge. This marks an important location, where a rocky formation known as the Yarra Falls once crossed the river. The Yarra Falls actually separated the salt water from the sea and the fresh water flowing down from the hills. In 1883, the falls were demolished using dynamite to combat the regular and significant flooding events that plagued Melbourne. Downstream from the Yarra Falls is where the Port of Melbourne's rich and significant maritime heritage begins. For 95 years, ships sailed up to the falls. Along the riverbanks, wharfs for shipping were built, and a significant maritime industry and port flourished, bringing essential trade, travel, and prosperity to Melbourne. The early ships were wind-powered tall sailing ships like schooners, brigantines, and barks. Following sailing ships came the more reliable, powerful, and larger steamships. Today, the ships are larger again and powered by more efficient internal combustion diesel engines.
Yep.
Mag-jump yung head namin ni Mahal. Dalawang bridge kasi high tide na, high tide.
Have a look at the beautiful sea life over there. Here comes a little bridge.
For thousands of years, this rich and luscious environment was home to our First Nations people, the 5 tribes of the Kulin Nation. The local tribes of Woiwurrung and Boonwurrung referred to the falls as Yarra Yarra, meaning always flowing, and the falls were used as a crossing point between their lands. The river was referred to as Birrarung, meaning river of mist. In June of 1835, an explorer, entrepreneur and grazier named John Batman, leading a small expedition party from Tasmania, sailed into Port Phillip on the schooner Rebecca and discovered the Yarra Falls. On the upper side of the falls, he discovered the water was fresh. Exploring the land to the north, he found rich, fertile soil. Batman then famously declared, "This will be a place for a village," and declared the land Batmania. John Batman met with the elders of the Wurundjeri tribe and negotiated a treaty and the purchase of thousands of hectares of land in exchange for tools, blankets, and food. When John Batman returned with others in August, to a surprise he found another explorer, John Pascoe Faulkner, and others already living on the land. The parties argued for years and became bitter rivals as to who first founded and settled the land. Despite all the serious conflicts and concerns of all community members, somehow cool heads prevailed, and no one was seriously hurt. After hearing news of this growing settlement, the New South Wales Governor, Richard Burke, visited on the 10th of April 1837, and officially named the colonial village Melbourne, in honour of the British Prime Minister, Lord Melbourne. Following years of lobbying, in 1851, the Port Phillip district separated from New South Wales, and in appreciation, this district was renamed after Queen Victoria. Victoria had now become an independent self-governing body under its own governor, Charles La Trobe.
Yep.
That's the last bridge, Mahal.
Yeah, that was fun. Ah, the Ferris wheel.
Looking over to our left, you can see three masts. These are the masts of the Polly Woodside, an attractive example of sailmanship that is a feature of South Wharf, and typical of the ships that utilised and occupied the wharfs we are passing. The ship was built in Belfast in Woodside Dockyards and named after the builder's wife, Polly. Polly Woodside is typical of thousands of smaller iron barks built in the last days of sail. From 1835 to 1903, this three-mast, square-rigged sailing ship survived 16 trips around the treacherous seas of Cape Horn. Eventually she was abandoned and left to rot along the wharves, until in 1968, the National Trust of Australia had the foresight to acquire the hull and restored the vessel to her former glory. After many charitable donations and an estimated 60,000 hours of voluntary labour, the Polly Woodside was finally opened for public viewing in 1978. On our right is North Wharf, where you can see a heritage-listed cargo crane. This is an example of one of the early shorter ship cargo cranes. The crane is attached to a rail system, which allowed stevedores, or wharfies, to move the crane along the ship, mechanically lifting on or lifting off cargo in nets and slings. Prior to the introduction of cranes, cargo was manually handled from a ship via ramps and ladders. In the early days, hundreds of wharfies were selected each day to unload or load just one ship. Equipped with a wharfie's hook, bales of wool or hessian-filled bags weighing between 60 to 100 kilos would be carried by the wharfies on their backs for a 24 to 48-hour shift. Typically, it took 2 to 3 weeks to turn a ship around in port. By the 1990s, most of North Wharf was no longer required for commercial shipping. This area has now been repurposed for residential waterfront living and is referred to as the suburb of Melbourne Docklands. Melbourne's rich and significant maritime heritage begins.
Kaya mga mahal.
For 95 years, ships sailed up to the falls. Along the riverbanks was the
Pwede
shipping
na lang mga mahal.
significant maritime industry and port flourished, with an essential trade. Brigantines and barks. Following sailing ships became more reliable, powerful,
I really hit it.
Today, the ships are larger again and powered by more efficient internal combustion diesel engines.
Lucky. I didn't hit my head. Otherwise, I'm going back to Sydney with no head.
You're lucky you're short.
I don't want to jump off my head. I still want to enjoy my life. We got two more mahal.
There's another one coming.
Another one?
Yep.
I'll be ready. Nakita niyo yun mga mahal? Macha-chop yung head namin ni Mahal B. Dalawang bridge kasi high tide na, high tide. Yung first hour is low tide yung area. This time, high tide. Ayun mga mahal.
Years, this rich and luscious environment was
Ayun, doon kami ayun yung sky deck na nakakatakot talaga yun.
referred to the falls as Yarra, meaning always flowing, and the falls were used as a crossing point between their lands. The river was referred to as
Sing
Yarra,
Bridge,
meaning river of
1961.
mist.
Wow!
Our
In
year.
June of 1835, an explorer, entrepreneur and grazier named John Batman, leading
King
a small
Bridge.
expedition
The
from
way-
Tasmania, sailed to
Mahal!
Rebecca, discovered the Yarra Falls.
Mahal, be careful! Hey,
John Batman met with the elders of the Wurundjeri tribe and negotiated a treaty and the purchase of thousands of hectares of land
Nakita niyo
in
yung mga
exchange
mahal.
for
There's the Brown
tools,
Plaza.
blankets. The Port Phillip district separated from New South Wales, and in appreciation,
Another bridge, mga mahal. Si Malo.
Victoria had now become independent self-government. Its own governor, Charles
Mahal, are you alright?
Yeah.
That's the last bridge, mahal.
Yeah, that was fun. Ah, the Ferris wheel.
Wharf Hotel. We didn't go there, mahal.
Hi Magmahal, welcome back to George and Zenny YouTube channel. Now this is the end of our river cruise, so we'd like to end our blog here for today, and we thank you for watching and sharing our blog. So we'd like to go now and have something to eat, and we'll say goodbye for now. God bless you all, be kind, be nice, and that will all come back in return. So please don't forget, share, like and subscribe to George and Zenny YouTube channel. Love you all. Bye bye.